Hey everyone, and welcome back to the show. Today, we're diving deep into something I think we all battle with on a daily basis: stress. It's like this invisible opponent that just keeps showing up, isn't it?
Absolutely, Zia. And it's funny because when I think about it, stress isn't just one thing. It's this multifaceted monster. Sometimes it's a tight deadline, sometimes it's a social interaction, and sometimes it's just that low hum of anxiety about everything and nothing.
That low hum. That's the perfect way to put it. For me, it often starts in my shoulders, like I'm carrying the weight of the world, even when I'm just sitting at my desk. Then my jaw starts to clench, and before I know it, I'm just wired.
I get that. Mine usually goes straight to my gut, that feeling of butterflies, but not the good kind, more like angry wasps. And my brain just starts racing, jumping from one what if scenario to another. It's exhausting.
Exhausting is right. And the thing is, a little bit of stress can actually be motivating, right? That healthy pressure to get things done. But we're talking about that chronic, debilitating kind of stress that truly makes you feel like you're losing yourself.
Feel it. Exactly. The kind that starts affecting your sleep, your mood, your relationships, even your physical health. We've all been there, pushing ourselves to the brink thinking that's just how it is or how we achieve things.
Yeah, like it's a badge of honor to be constantly overwhelmed. Oh, I'm so busy. I'm so stressed. And for a long time, I definitely wore that badge. I thought it meant I was working hard, I was important.
Me too. It's almost ingrained in our culture, especially in certain industries. But what's the cost? Because after a while, you realize you're not actually being more productive, you're just burning out. You're losing that spark.
Totally. So the big question is, how do we win against this invisible opponent without actually losing ourselves in the process? How do we find that balance?
I think the first step, and honestly the hardest for me, was just acknowledging it. Not just saying I'm stressed, but really identifying what is stressing me out. Is it work? Is it a personal situation? Is it my own expectations?
That's huge because often we just feel generally overwhelmed and we don't even take the time to pinpoint the source. It's like trying to fight a fog instead of seeing the specific weather pattern causing it.
Right. And sometimes it's something you can't change immediately, like a family illness or a global pandemic. But even then, knowing the source helps you categorize it and think about what you can control versus what you just have to manage your reaction to.
That's a really important distinction: control versus managing reaction. For me, a big one has been learning to say no. I used to feel so guilty turning down requests, whether at work or socially. I thought I was letting people down.
Oh, the yes man trap. I've been there. You stretch yourself thin and then you're not doing anything well and you're resentful and everyone loses. Learning to set boundaries, even gentle ones, is an act of self preservation.
Exactly. And it's not selfish, it's sustainable. Because if you're constantly running on empty, you're not going to be much good to anyone, including yourself. Speaking of sustainability, what about the physical side of things? Because stress really does a number on our bodies.
It absolutely does. For me, when I'm stressed, I'll often neglect exercise, eat poorly, and skimp on sleep, which, ironically, are the very things that help combat stress. It's a vicious cycle.
Totally. I'll start reaching for comfort foods, which are usually not the healthiest, and then I feel even worse. And sleep, oh, glorious sleep. When stress hits, that's the first thing to go for me. My brain just won't shut off.
Same. So, one thing that has helped me immensely, and it sounds so simple, is just getting outside. Even a quick 15-minute walk. It's like a reset button. Fresh air, natural light, moving my body. It clears my head in a way nothing else can.
I'm a huge advocate for that, especially if you can find some green space. There's something about nature that just grounds you, reminds you that the world is bigger than your immediate stressors. Even looking out a window at a tree can help.
And the other thing, which can feel impossible when you're overwhelmed, is carving out time for joy. Even small pockets of it. Reading a chapter of a book, listening to your favorite song, calling a friend, playing with a pet, just something that brings you genuine pleasure.
Yes, because stress can make us feel like we don't deserve to enjoy ourselves or that we don't have time for it. But those moments of joy are literally refilling your tank. They're not a luxury, they're essential for resilience.
Right. And it's about being intentional. It's not just waiting for joy to happen, it's actively seeking it out, even when you feel like you're drowning, because those small moments add up and create a buffer against the stress.
Another powerful tool I've found, especially for those racing thoughts, is mindfulness. It sounds a bit woo woo to some, but honestly, just focusing on my breath for a few minutes can completely shift my perspective.
Oh, absolutely. It's not about emptying your mind, which is a common misconception, but more about observing your thoughts without judgment, just acknowledging them and letting them pass rather than getting caught up in the whirlwind.
Exactly. And it trains your brain to create a little space between the stimulus and your reaction. That tiny pause can make all the difference in how you respond to a stressful situation instead of just reacting on autopilot.
That's a key point, because so often our stress response is just that, a response. It's ingrained. But we can actually retrain our brains to react differently. It takes practice, but it's totally possible.
What about when the stress feels like it's coming from external factors like work demands? How do you tackle that without just, quitting your job?
That's a really tough one because often you can't just eliminate the source. In those situations, I've found it helpful to get really organized, prioritize tasks ruthlessly. What absolutely has to get done today? What can wait? What can be delegated?
Yes, time management becomes a superpower. And it's not about doing more, it's about doing the right things at the right time and being okay with not doing everything all at once. Perfectionism can be a huge stressor in itself.
Oh, don't even get me started on perfectionism. That's a whole other episode. But you're right, accepting good enough can be incredibly freeing. And also communicating with your team or your boss if you're truly overwhelmed.
Yes, asking for help or communicating your bandwidth is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of self awareness and professionalism. It's much better than silently drowning and delivering subpar work, or worse, just burning out.
And that leads to another huge point, building a support system. Whether it's friends, family, a therapist, a coach, having people you can talk to who can listen without judgment is invaluable. You don't have to carry it all alone.
Definitely. Just verbalizing your stress, getting it out of your head and into the world can often reduce its power. Sometimes a friend just needs to say, "Hey, that sounds really tough," and you feel a little lighter.
It's true. Or they might offer a perspective you hadn't considered, or remind you of a strength you forgot you had. Human connection is such a powerful antidote to feeling overwhelmed and isolated. So, to recap some of our winning strategies against stress, identifying the source, setting boundaries, prioritizing self-care like exercise and good nutrition, making time for joy, practicing mindfulness, effective time management, and leaning on your support system. That's a solid toolkit right there. And it's not about doing all of them all the time. It's about knowing what works for you and having a few go-to strategies you can deploy when you feel that familiar hum of stress starting.
Absolutely. It's a journey, not a destination. Some days you'll feel like you're winning, some days stress might get the upper hand. But the goal isn't to eliminate stress completely, that's unrealistic, but to learn how to navigate it without losing your authentic self.
Exactly. To come out the other side stronger, more resilient, and with your spirit intact. Because at the end of the day, your well-being, your peace of mind, that's paramount. You can't pour from an empty cup, and you definitely can't win when you're completely drained.
Such a great point, Jenny. So, to all our listeners out there, remember you have more power over stress than you think. Take small steps, be kind to yourself, and know that you're not alone in this fight.
That's right. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, just pick one thing from our list today, one tiny step, and give it a try. You might be surprised at how much difference it makes. Thanks for joining us, everyone, and take care of yourselves.
Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.